Also, you can email tv@atheist-community.org. That goes to myself, the co-host, the other people behind the scenes who should show themselves since the camera 3 is now working. And I know they have a couple times in the studio.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, would you guys mind removing us from the pits of hell, please? I personally have an issue with that, and I don't know if you're trying to...
That's not hell, that's
Martian... I'd like to not be in hell, please. Oh, great, I'm in with you guys.
Now we're really in hell. No! So, John, Frank, Joe, Steve, Shelley, all of them back there. Pan the camera up so they can see that beautiful HD TV multi-display that you guys use. If only we had as nice audio equipment.
We're not going to pan the camera while we're... Whoa!
Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have gone that way.
In a minute. My head is appearing inside my chest.
Yeah, if only the audio equipment was nearly as good as that. So there's a couple calls on the line. As soon as they're queued up, I'll get to them. As a reminder, in addition, you can go to the website. There's a frequently asked questions page and a number of other things as well. We don't have any super special events coming up in the next few weeks, but this idea that we talked about earlier about losing heroes, and then we have the caller about Zeitgeist, where this thing about building heroes is a fiction. My take on this, because we get asked all the time about this Jesus as a historical figure, is kind of along the lines of how do you define somebody? For example, George Washington, we have it on good authority that this individual existed. It would be absurd to find out that he didn't exist. However, it's not absurd to find out that the story about the cherry tree is nonsense. That this little bit of myth has been glommed on to a life, a real life, one that is as historically verifiable as almost anybody else's. So when you say Jesus existed, what do you mean? Do you mean Jesus, this character as represented in the Bible, who said the things that he's reported to have said and performed the miracles that he's reported to have performed, do you mean that individual existed? Because I see no reason at all to think that individual existed. What I have no problem with is the idea that there may have been and likely was, an individual, or perhaps several individuals, who lived around that time, whose life story had mythic elements glommed onto. Now, whether or not
those happens all the time.
Yeah, whether or not those were borrowed from other traditions or not, doesn't equate to a conspiracy. But the people who would claim, and it's just nonstop, that the Bible, as one of the early callers did, Kent Hovind and Ray Comfort can demonstrate scientifically that the Bible is true. No, they can't. No, they can't. There's not a single extra biblical contemporary account of any event from the life of Jesus. That, added to the fact that some of the things the Bible claims are clearly wrong, although apologists will try to spin them in a number of ways, means that we really can't say with any good reliability that this figure did exist. If every element of what we package together as the person is something that is questionable, virgin birth, what? Walking on water, what? The words, which don't necessarily match, which we don't have originals of, which we have no, good reason to think are anything other than sayings and stories, and the fact that they may have come from other written traditions. What exactly is it that you're saying existed? That's the important point. And I'm not sitting up here saying, Jesus never existed, that's nonsense, you shouldn't worship that, that's what's wrong with you? That's not the way this works. I'm simply saying that, even if he did exist, there's no evidence.
But I am here saying the angel Moroni never existed. So let's not give the impression that because we're willing to accept that there may well be an historical basis for the Jesus character in the Bible.
Yeah.
That therefore we think that there's a bit of truth behind every single piece of religious mythology that anybody cares to describe to us.
And remember, you can't have Moroni without moron.